First start, round 2. All right, good morning. Starting the day off with a nice victory last night. But first thing, I'm just gonna check the fluids here and see how things look after they settle down overnight. All right, coolant. Oh, I could probably add some back to that. But I also got the OEM Honda. Kaboom. New rad cap. How good is that? Versus that. Like A, who knows if this spring is good, it's super old. And B, it was only $10, so that looks way better, just that alone. All right, so the engine's topped up and happy, so we can do a little more idling. And got the rear already jacked up because this guy. Woo woo. We have a new exhaust for the car. This is a Tanabe Hyper Medallion. I think pretty long discontinued exhaust. Yeah, so there you go, Tanabe, and it's got the old Jasma tag stamp thing. This doesn't even matter for shotgun anymore. I just knew that would be under the decibel limit that is allowed. Hyper Medallion. So yeah, there you go, pretty rad. And believe it or not, maybe you would believe it, loud exhausts are really easy to come by for these cars, but like a quiet style exhaust like this that's like kind of shotgun compliant, rather hard to find. So when this popped up and it was all complete, like I kind of went for it. But when it arrived, it was not this shiny. So while I work on removing this, let's bump back to some little B-roll time lapse of getting this cleaned up for the before after, because this too was like quite a transformation. Alright, so how was it? Pretty good transformation, right? Started out looking pretty rough and stained and whatever, but came back looking real nice. So I got the muffler out. Let's do a little comparison, just take a look at both. Alright, so here they are side by side. Obviously a big difference in kind of like rear look. Just kind of depends on whatever you prefer. This one really grew on me, and as best as I can tell, it's still, I'm not sure, this might be a Vision muffler. I've seen one that has the similar like double weld style here, but it just has a different style tip on it. So what do you guys like, oval canister or more Canon style? So then on the stock mid-pipe, here is the reason we're gonna fail shotgun currently. You could probably weld over that and patch it, but this you can feel the seam is just totally rusted and like kind of rotting away. That's why I opted to go with a full different stainless exhaust in this case. Hopefully the tip does not stick past the bumper. That's the one question mark right now. Next thing I gotta do is I gotta get the cat off. And as you can see, that may or may not happen. Those are completely rusted to nothing. So this might be where I stall out. We'll see how this goes. I'll get this heat shield off and see what I can do there. Well, this is gonna be interesting. I think there's supposed to be 2 flanges and a seam somewhere there. Man, these are really rusty. So we'll see how this goes and then see if this will separate. Getting totally beat by these bolts or nuts rusted on this catalyzer. So I'm probably gonna have to end up cutting them off or something, and then whatever. So might just wrap it up here for today because I don't see progress being made in the next, little bit. Alright, well, this turn of events I did not see at all happening. So the last clip you saw, I'd pretty much given up hope of getting this figured out today, but just as I was working on this, a neighbor that I've never talked to before just was walking down the street and he was like, "Oh hey, is that VTEC?" and got talking to him and I was showing him what I was working on. And he's like, oh, here, I'll go get a monkey wrench and we'll try that. And then that didn't work. He's like, oh, I got a grinder, I'll go get that. So he went and got that. Yeah, I'll show you what we ended up with. And we were able to cut, you know, 2 of the studs off, which were the 2 that were giving me troubles. And then just with the hammer, we were able to drive those out. So yeah, I just need to get a couple bolts. I'm trying to figure out if I should just drive this one out too and put bolts through all of it. I don't have hardware to put it back together, so that's gonna be where I'm kind of stuck for today anyway, but I'm stuck in like a much better position than where I thought I was. So I can't believe it. Like, just put it out there and the universe will provide. You know, sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Like, this turn of events totally blowing my mind. Hopefully you guys have some good luck like that coming your way, because wow. And while we have good access to it, here's the shifter from the underside. It's got a ton of slop and slidey play like that. I don't know what's supposed to be in there, but that just seems like a really, I don't know, rusty old linkage, and then maybe someone just swapped out the bolt with this, you know, nylock setup. I don't know what's going on here. I need to look at some stock units, but is that amount of play side to side normal? When the car was idling yesterday, it was making a vibration like that. I'm just gonna explore what the options are for that, since I have easy access at the moment. Otherwise, yeah, just some heat shields. I could pull those and clean those up, but I don't know if I really want to. Not looking too bad under here though. All right, so let's start today off with an easy win. I've got some. Who said that?
Paint us.
What's that? Hello?
It'll only take a minute.
Hello?
You still have high temp silver, right?
Who said that?
Paint us.
The audience can't handle any more silver high temp paint.
Steve. Paint us.
Oh man, that was weird. What the? Alright, so this car keeps delivering the hits. We got the shift lever out of the car now because it's not just I'm missing the spacers. You can see how wobbled out that side is. Like, it's just been wearing away. And on this side you can see there should be a roller bearing in there. And this has a nice circular shape to it. Versus this oval oblong completely just wore thing. I've done some looking online. I don't think the OEM shift levers are available anymore, so I'm just going to order a cheap aftermarket one for now just to make the car run and not have all that play. So we just need to order a new shifter. Also, something of note when I was researching shifter stuff, so what people were saying on the forums I was reading was that if these are the gold bronze, then they're ITR linkages. Everything else is black. I don't know if that's true because this has the counterweight, which the ITRs do not. So if you guys are more knowledgeable, please chime in and let me know. This car does have all the random like ITR bits on it, so I don't know how far they went swapping stuff over. Like, it'd be wild if this is an ITR trans. But yeah, just one more, you know, random find on this car. And now back at the back of the car, looking at the front edge of the gas tank. See that slot right there? That metal bracket should be hooked in that slot on the gas tank as like a safety hook to catch it in case the straps break and it wants to drop down. I'm not going to bore you with the dropping and the rehanging, but don't forget that if you end up doing the tank on your DC2. Alright, got the gas tank back in. Luckily it's just a little slight detour, about 10 minutes to drop it a little bit and just readjust it. But yeah, with the heat shield off I could actually see the hook, so that's where I missed it before. But the heat shields are all nice high temp silver now. The trans tunnel, quote unquote trans tunnel, is chassis black just to seal it up because there's just like light rust starting, so nothing too major. The heat shields really took the brunt of it. But yeah, it's looking all fresh down here, and without a shifter, this is about as far as I can go today. A few days later, we have a shifter now. Let's check it out. So here's what we got. Obviously the old one on the left, maybe a Megan brand, and the new one on the right, and that's just generic Yahoo brand. This spacing here is about the same if they're lined up. Obviously, I've never driven the car, so I don't know how it's gonna feel anyway. You can see the angle up here is different and it's a little bit taller. and this ball is a little bit smaller, so maybe this is not right for an Integra. I have no idea. Being super cheap, it didn't come with any hardware, so here's just some basic hardware I'm gonna try and make work, and I'm gonna need to use these as spacers because the ones it come with were too short. They're not wide enough to fill out that whole space. So yeah, you guys know the deal with buying the cheapest thing you can on eBay or Yahoo or whatever, where it's like they say it's gonna fit, but like it's not for your chassis. Let's just get it in there and see what we can figure out. All right, so from up above, obviously the shifter is in place. To go through the gears, yeah, so it actually feels like a shifter instead of like this really floppy thing before. I should have got some before video of it. I just didn't realize how bad it was, but I'll go down below and show you how I got it all finagled. All right, so from down below, you can see I just stacked 4 washers on each side of the spacer that they provided, and that came out to be like exactly within a ½ mil probably of what the spacing is here. And then the stainless bolt and lock nut. It'd be nice if the shoulder of the bolt was longer, but at least it gets through the actual shifter there. So it is what it is. It's the best I could find for this random situation. For now, I think it's gonna be good, so I'm gonna move on to putting the exhaust on. Oh, and I'll just mention it because this helped me, because you have to slide that like rubber boot thing around the sleeve off of that pivot ball on the shifter. I just used some rubber grease and I put it on the shifter, and then I kind of put a little bit on the rubber, and it helped it slide on and off. A little bit of lube goes a long way. All right, so let the battle commence of getting this exhaust on this thing. So the surprising thing, it's gonna be hard to see, is but the cat flange is too small to line up with the bolt holes of the connecting flange. Yeah, there was no hopes of the stock studs even working to bolt to this exhaust. So I'm not sure if the Type R cat is larger and then, you know, they would line up with this exhaust. That just really surprised me that this DC2 exhaust won't even bolt up to the cat. So I'm gonna have to use smaller M8 hardware anyway just because of that. All right, so tip of the day, go to the home improvement store and buy your hardware. This Duran stuff from, this was like Up Garage or Autobox, it's 600 yen. Home improvement store has literally the exact same stainless steel hardware for like 200 yen, so might as well buy it there and save some money. After much wrestling later, got the exhaust all installed, and yeah, it fits really nice, you know, quality name brand stuff, made in Japan. There is a bottleneck right there, and it's not just from like the honeycomb inside the cat, it is like the entrance and the exit of the cat. And then from the back of the car, new exhaust is all installed. Look at that. But yeah, you can see, like, well, you can't really see, which is the nice thing. The exhaust really tucks in nicely to the chassis, so really happy with that. Another big win is this tip is no longer touching the bumper. All right, we're still off the ground and stuff, but how is that for a look? We'll get some sound clips here in a second. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. Like under light revs, it was like really crispy sound. I don't know what to say. Like it wasn't loud and annoying. It was just like crisp. It sounded really good. I'm excited to really get it in the rev range and see how it sounds. But yeah, we're pretty pleased with that. Wouldn't you know it? We still have an exhaust leak. I almost kind of expected that. I'll show you where it's coming from. Right out of the top side of that flange. Those are the stamped steel flanges, which are not my choice, that's for sure. They tend to warp and flex and stuff like that. And this one, it looked like it, but I thought maybe it would smash down. So not really sure what to do besides like pull it and try and hammer it flat or something, but we made zero progress basically. We traded one leak for another leak. So I'm not sure what the solution is going to be at the moment. Anyway, that's cars and I guess used parts. Well, apologies everyone. I really wanted to get this thing down off the jack stands and actually kind of drive up and down the street a little bit. But it looks like I gotta try and sort out these exhaust leaks, so it is what it is. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one when hopefully this thing is back on the ground. Alright, much love, be well.